In short, or as a brief introduction, if you can tell us about, what is the significance of Hospice Week? Because this is the week that we're in. It's Hospice Week, and what does it mean for the palliative care sector within South Africa?
This is an annual global week where, um, where the vital role that care plays in the world is in South Africa this year. We're acknowledging the role since the inception of hospice in our country, and the sorry, my phone just rang and I'm now totally off my thing. Can I please start again? I know we're live.
No problem at
Um,
all. Earlier on, also something knocked me off as well. So, no, we will continue. It's okay. You are more than welcome to
okay,
start again. It's all right. We understand, Teresa. It's also this time,
so
maybe,
this
because
is,
it's the evening.
uh, it's been a long day. So
Absolutely.
we are focusing on the journey palliative care
Yes.
since 1979 to now,
Sure. It's long.
and the changes that have happened. And we also celebrate the hospices, the palliative care centres, and their amazing staff.
Sure. It's powerful that you say since 1979, because that leads me to my next question that I have about it. That, it obviously has a long history. And I would love to hear from you how it's evolved, since you became part of it. How have you seen the journey of palliative care evolve?
I only got involved with palliative care in 2013, and we were quite far down the line. We'd already rebrand. The Hospice Association was formed in 1986, and then in 2007 there was a rebrand where the name was changed to Hospice Palliative Care Association, because the word hospice is very often misunderstood and interpreted to only be the end of life. And then in 2023, we had a major rebrand when we launched our name, the Association of Palliative Care Centres, because we don't only provide end of life care, we do provide care to all patients with a life limiting disease of diagnosis. And people can move in and out of a palliative care program. It's not a death sentence being on a palliative care program.
Absolutely. Now, just looking at how it works really. How do APCC members provide that support for individuals that have those life-threatening diseases or illnesses that you speak about, such as, of course, COVID-19, HIV/AIDS? How do they do it? And also assisting their loved ones, because it's not only them that's affected, it's also, their family members and friends.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that APCC members is training and accreditation. So we have to adhere to international accreditation standards. So we know that where a facility is APCC accredited, the people know what they're doing. We it's we not only the standards, but our hospices need to be assessed and credited, reaccredited every 2 years to make sure that they're current. So I think that is the most important thing. And what led out of this accreditation is the fact that we now are able to care for insured aid patients where we receive funding. And the funded patients can cross-subsidizes the uninsured patients. So we've come a long way from just being a non-profit relying on international funding to being self-sustaining.
Wow. That's very impressive. Meaning that, there is a need for palliative care and more attention needs to be brought to it. So I'm going to take you a little bit back. I know that you've answered part of this question, but what role did palliative care provide during COVID-19? The pandemic that we went through as a world, and what challenges did you face within the space of palliative care?
So I think the very first thing was that we recognized at the time that COVID-19 fitted within the life-threatening diagnosis category. And people were really broken by COVID-19. And we found that even the patients that recovered from about in ICU and being ventilated were so weak and suffered from tremendous brain fog and long COVID and the fact that they were so isolated from their families left a lot of emotional scars that was often not provided it couldn't be provided in hospitals. But we as an organization stepped in and provided that care.
Sure. Sure. It was really, tough times, if you just look back, and I can imagine that in that space, because you're facing things daily. And then how do the APCC members ensure that palliative care is accessible to everyone, particularly in rural and underserved communities?
That is really a very difficult thing. The rural areas, very few of the hospices are funded by the Department of Health. And the patients in rural areas are very impoverished, and the nursing sisters have to travel vast distances to get to the patients. So at best, I can say we try our best. We don't get to everybody. It's a fact that only 14% of patients who need palliative care actually receive palliative care in South Africa. And in South Africa, it's a worldwide problem.
So sad. But
very sad.
We hope that, as evolution happens of palliative care and more attention and awareness is brought to it, that there will be funds that are allocated, to the palliative care space. And how do the members of the Association of Palliative Care Centers ensure that palliative care is accessible to everyone? We've already had that conversation. But what are some of the most significant achievements that you have had as an organization, since inception, especially in the lives and the difference that you've made in the lives of patients as well as families?
I think possibly one of the greatest achievements is that through when ARVs were introduced with the AIDS pandemic, well, first when AIDS pandemic hit, the hospice members provided palliative care to the individuals living with HIV and AIDS, and offering them dignity and comfort during the final stages of their life, and supporting the families by addressing their psychosocial needs, and helping them cope with the stigma associated with AIDS. When the association received its first funding from PEPFAR in 2003, used to formalize existing hospice volunteer operational structures into full-time appointments. And we were able to expand the geographic footprint of Hospice South Africa. And we were able to care for a far greater number of AIDS patients. The members became outreach centers, and we were educating families or people on AIDS, and promoting awareness to reduce stigma. Once the ARVs arrived, palliative care sector focused on providing patients still providing with pain and symptom relief, but they focused on compliance and adherence. And it really did have a huge impact on the trajectory of the pandemic.
That is so
The
powerful.
the first hospice that opened a rural home-based care program in partnership with the KZN Department of Health was South Coast Hospice. And the model that they used then was subsequently adopted by the National Department of Health and called the Integrated Community Home Care Program.
Sure. It's come a very long way. Now, can you tell us about the training and work readiness programs that are offered by the Association of Palliative Care Centers, and of course how they contribute to the development of caregivers?
Yeah, this is really exciting. APCC developed a caregiver program. Well, two: one NQF level 2 and NQF level 3 caregiver programs that are accredited by QCTO. So with those program, and it's long. The NQF2 is a 6-month course, and the NQF3, with all the practical hours, is a 1-year course. But when the students finish with that, they are very employable. With national health there's going to be a far greater requirement for caregivers, I think, than that we have now. So it's a good course. It's expensive because the kids have to attend class and they have to um, do a lot of community hours, and often they're from disadvantaged backgrounds, and for them to get to lectures or the classroom and to the centre where they've got to do their practical hours is a huge challenge. And I'm hoping that there will be available for the training of these caregivers.
Absolutely. Now, in ending, what message would you like to convey to the public about the importance of palliative care and the work that the Association of Palliative Care Centers has done and is doing? And yeah, just during this week, this very important week where we are, highlighting all things hospice.
I would like to tell the public that the fact that we hospices or palliative care centers are non-profits doesn't mean that the care um, is substandard.
Yeah.
Our nurses have exactly the same training as any private hospitals had. Um, Plus, they then, after they qualify in emergency care and ICU and all of those disciplines, they have to do another 9-month course, and that's is supported by or done by UCT, University of Cape Town, with the Association of Palliative Care. We also have these very strict policies in place to assure constant uh, quality care for the patients, and people shouldn't fear us. It's not a death sentence. Being at coming on to a palliative care program, that can come on while they are curative treatment, and when they're better or in remission or whatever, they can go off the program. If the need arises, they can come back. It's an extra level of care. It's and the work that we do, and this is the one thing that I personally honor, is um, I honor our staff, because the work that they do is very sacred work. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my message.
Thank you so, so much for holding down the position of CEO. I'm sure that it, takes a lot of resilience and bravery to do what you do daily. So thank you for that, and for also having this conversation with us and bringing attention to palliative care during Hospice Week. How can our audience get a hold of you as APCC? Maybe your social media handles
We
and
have,
an email address,
yeah,
maybe, or a website if it's possible.
website address is apcc.org.za. And I think that is about the best way to get hold of us. If anybody's looking for a hospice in a particular city or town, there is a section on where to find us, where to find a hospice. There's also a lot of information on training, accreditation, what we do, and how we do it.
Excellent. Thank you
And
so.
I really want to thank you for having us tonight.
Mm.
It's such a privilege to be able to bring this message to the country.
Absolutely, and much needed. I think a lot of people just sometimes don't understand, and it's important to have that information to take away the stigma. From palliative
Mm,
care and anything that has to do with hospice.
absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
I think it's
Mm,
important that we all know about it. So thank you so much for your time this evening, and may you be blessed in the work that you do and continue to, to do it with all your
thank you.
heart and with all your passion. Thank you so much.